So you always want to use an SPE or an SPV when you're buying a company. So what is that? So this is where a mergers and acquisitions attorney that is versed in, skilled in, familiar with the type of business, type of company you want to buy. A special purpose entity or a special purpose vehicle is really just it's an LLC or a corporation. You generally want to use a shell corporation that you set up. It could be an LLC, it could be a C Corp or an S Corp, just depends on what your tax strategy is. So you want to consult with your attorney and with your accountant. And I always like to use a shell entity, an LLC that doesn't own anything else or is not part of anything else for my acquisitions. So that if anything happens during the process, it doesn't affect anything else. So if you use an existing company that you have that's an operating company that has assets or business interest or whatever, and you go to acquire another business and then something goes wrong and you end up in a dispute, lawsuit, whatever, that can affect your operating company and all of the other things that it's involved with. So you always want to use a special purpose entity or special purpose vehicle that you set up specifically for the transaction at hand. And we're going to get into asset purchase versus stock purchase here in a little bit. But for now, just understand, always use a shell LLC. In most states, it only costs $100 to a few $100. You can set one up online pretty much instantly and get an EIN and utilize that entity for all of your offers and for all of your contracts, your LOIs, your offers, and your contracts when you're acquiring companies. And then when the deal's done, that may go into a different entity. So you can kind of keep one special purpose vehicle, special purpose entity just for LOIs and acquisitions. Once the acquisition's complete, you can assign that. You can title that or put the ownership into another entity that you've created and just keep that one entity just for making offers and LOIs, especially if you're doing multiple offers, multiple LOIs. As long as it doesn't have any assets or any ties to anything else, if you get into a dispute, it can't affect the other. So you always want to keep everything separate, all your companies in separate entities, all of your acquisitions in separate entities, all of your offers and your contracts in a separate entity that has no assets, no ties to any other businesses, and does not operate anything anywhere, so that when things do go south, because oftentimes they do, it won't hold up or tie up your operations or your ventures in other areas.